Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrea if you haven't seen me before. For today, I want to talk about submission. So what is submission? Are there types of submission? What is the negative connotation and what are some of the positive connotation when it comes to being a submissive wife or in a relationship, right? So if you are interested, please stay tuned and let's talk about it. Guys, let's get into it. So let's define submission. Per Google, submission is the act of yielding to a superior force, right? And I know that's the definition everybody takes, like, oh, my husband is not superior to me, my partner is not superior to me. And I agree, because I do believe that the definition Google has is in a broad context. It's not narrowing it down, right? It doesn't narrow it down a little bit. Now, you do submit to superior forces in your life. For example, if a cop pulls you over, what do? You start to be nice. You start to do things the cop asks you to do, right? You're not giving the cops a command. They're giving you command. When you go to court, the judge tells you zip it. What do? You zip it. The judge tells you stand up. What do? You stand up. You don't give the judge commands. The judge gives you command. So there are points in your life where you do submit to a superior force. But I think when you research that word in a relationship context, right, then the definition slightly differs. Because when I researched it, there was a definition that popped up and it literally said, being a submissive wife is the act of putting yourself under the authority of your husband in a kind, in a loving manner, not in an abusive or a slave to a master kind of relationship. Okay, so why do we talk about that? Why don't society tell us about that? No, we do not talk about that. We always talk about the Google broad definition, right? Now, yes, the definition still says authority, putting yourself under the authority of your husband. And that's to me, that just means, like, it doesn't matter how bad, you guys had a fight or you were pissed off at him. You still trust him enough to be the leader that he's going to make decisions that are better for you and your family, no matter what kind of fight you had or argument you have. So you place yourself under that authority, knowing that he's going to take control in that aspect. So, for example, if you have a husband that's really good with finance, right, and he does all the financial stuff, you place yourself under his authority because you trust him enough to make good financial choices, right? So that's what it means to me. Placing yourself under his authority doesn't necessarily mean that he's superior to you. And then it says in a kind and loving manner, not in an abusive way. Not in a relationship like a slave to a master where it's just, yes, sir. Yes, sir. But a lot of times when I look around, even when I watch the real, when I watched them the last time, a bunch of them were saying, like, oh, I'm not going to be submissive to a man. I'm not a yes, sir kind of a person. And I ended up just laughing because it was just like, yeah, that's not really necessarily what it means, but, go ahead with your Google definition. A lot of times we define this word just per that slave master mentality. We think that, being submissive to a man literally strips you of your voice. It does not. I had to take that and put that into my context, right? Because I had to think about it. I was like, am I a submissive person? And at first I was like, no, I'm not, because I'm a working woman, right? But then I had to realize there are two types of submission. There is the stay-at-home mom and there is the working woman. I do think the working women do have a lot of leeway, or a little bit, because as a working woman, you are not home all the time. So you're not going to be able to, like, serve your husband dinner or breakfast or lunch or whatever every single day versus the stay-at-home mom who's there literally every day. right? So I do believe if you're a stay-at-home mom, you should definitely think about being a submissive woman. To me, submission is being a homemaker and having a better communication skills. And I think this is what people think: you are stripped of your power because you're not argumentative, like you're not arguing with your husband, you're not in his face, right? You learn to handle argument in a different manner. Women, we don't like to understand men, but we like men to understand us. And I say this to say that a lot of times when people talk about not having a voice in a submissive relationship, what it means is the women who are submissive tend to handle arguments different than the women who are not. We have the women who are like in your face kind of aggression. You're going to talk about this and we're going to solve this today. And you have the women who will find another way to communicate that. But I do find in my experience that women who are submissive do end up getting a lot more out of their husband or their partner than women who are aggressive in your face, because men they're not emotional people, right? Men don't think about things the way we do. So if you're coming at a man, you just like, that's all they hear. And then they're just probably going to tell you what you need to hear to be okay. They're going to tell you what you need in that moment, but it's not going to sink in. Because to a man, give me the problem and let me fix it. Give me the problem and let me fix it. So if you're there like, they're just like, okay, why am I? What is she's going on? They're not really taking that in. Then they might just say the right thing for the moment because they want you to zip it. They might do it the next day because they want you to zip it. They want a peace of mind, but it's not really going to sink in. But a submissive wife will figure out how her husband handles things. She will figure out how she can say things to her husband that's more effective without even yelling or screaming. And I've had situations like that. Situations when I'm like talking a lot and wondering why my things are not like being heard. And the minute I switch up, it's like, oh, okay, he gets it, right? And I don't think that necessarily takes anything away from you. I think it just improves your communication skills with the person you're with. So I don't think like not being argumentative in a relationship versus, being submissive, it strips you of anything. I think society just makes it seem like that. Society is the one that makes the submissive woman to seem weak. That submissive women are not weak. Okay? A submissive woman can manipulate things behind the scenes. Boo-boo. Don't get it twisted. But again, I have to take that into context. As I said previously, right? To me, being submissive is more like a woman who knows she has a great communication skills with the person she's with. She's a homemaker. So for the working women, I do think like homemaking, especially when it comes to like cooking, there are leeways to that, right? And I had to think about that in my relationship, right? Because at first I was like, I am not submissive. Nope, I'm not. But then I thought about it. I was like, well, I do all the things to make a home. I cook, I clean, laundry. He's never going to allow me to pick out his clothes. I would like to, but he would not. Just no. He has a great sense of style, so he does not. Well, then when it comes to like, okay, do I serve him? Well, I don't serve him 100%, but I had to be honest with myself. Like when he's home and I'm cooking, I do serve him. When he's coming home and I'm home, I make him food. Literally the last time I was sleeping and I kept hearing his voice. I wasn't in a deep sleep, but I kept hearing his voice. He was like, Andrea, are you sleeping? Andrea. And then I opened my eyes and he was like, Andrea, are you sleeping? And I was like, well, not anymore. And he said, can you make me breakfast? And I literally got up. I didn't even think about it. Got up and made him food. And I had to say, well, I do serve him. I don't serve him every day because the hours that I work is not 9 to 5. And he doesn't work 9 to 5. So my submission when it comes to serving my man is in a different manner, right? Because I am a career woman. I am a working woman. But if I was a stay-at-home wife, I would be doing those things 100% of the time. And just being a career person and working and being submissive when I'm home, it hasn't stripped me of any power. It has literally improved my communication skills with my husband. If you know, you know. It has improved Yeah, it has improved my communication skills. It has improved my relationship. I mean, I haven't been stripped of anything. He doesn't treat me like crap. I do have a voice. I had to think about this. In my relationship, I am not the person who makes decision. I take my ideas to him, and he finalizes it. He's the person making the final decision. Yet and still, when he says, maybe we should wait, he does give me reasons why he like, I think A, B, C, and D, and then his points are valid. So he's not just shutting me down. He's considering the things I'm telling him, and then he's pointing out the flaws in them. And then he would say, maybe it's still a good idea, but let's wait a little bit. So if I'm not the final decision maker, if I take my ideas to him to finalize it, if I'm serving him, if if I'm making the home, then I am a submissive woman. Why does it have such a negative connotation to it? It does, because that's how society drives this wedge between the men and the woman. That's how people get to write books. That's how people get to make money out of these things. If you break it down to the nuance of how you want to behave in your relationship, do you want to be the one making it home? Because most people don't have enough money to either hire help to do those things. So if you want to be a stay-at-home wife where you are making the home, like, what are the things that you're going to be doing? When you break those things down to the little tiny little nuances, then you realize that society just places a negative connotation on it. It's not really negative. It's just the way people view it. And I get it. Back in the days, women had a hard time. But this is not back in the days. Now, women have voices. Women are working. Right? We are career women. So it's not like back in the day. So go back to what you think is fundamentally important to you. What are the things that you're going to do fundamentally for your husband? Are you going to cook? Or are you going to do laundry? Or are you going to clean your house? Or are you going to care for your kids? And then you start to realize that the only thing probably you have to factor in is your communication skills. The fact that you're not going to be the yeller, the screamer. You're going to find ways, and you're going to pick up on cues on how he reacts and how he takes things, and that even gives you an edge. I'm telling you guys, submission does not erase things from you. Submission can give you the power. You learn and you pick up, and you can be behind the scenes, and you can be manipulating strings. You can literally be pulling strings behind the scene. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here. If you guys stay the whole time, please hit that subscribe button, show support, and I will see you guys in my next clip.